Welcome everybody to day 3 of our Scrapbooking Summit. We are excited. We didn't yesterday. Bet our site went down for an hour, so we had no issues today. Fingers crossed. Thank you all for being here. We're really excited to get started. We have a full house today. There's 8 presentations live. So first of all, we want to thank Justine Hovey, who's our day sponsor today. And if you need to get organized, watch her video. It's a video about how to use Airtable. So it's techie and it's fast, but there's a lot of really good content in there, even just about how to organize your crafting room, your crafting supplies electronically. So number 1, you can find stuff easy. And number 2, if anything ever happens, you have a backup for insurance, which I think is a really good point she makes through her documents. So she is our sponsor today. And we are doing our first live with Bette. Bette's within us. Blah, 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 blah. Can't talk yet. Bette's been with us for our summits. And I am Heather Cameron, your host, co-host with Tracy. I'm the techie side and the interview side. And Tracy is the scrapbooker. So she has all the scrapbooking knowledge and gets all our amazing speakers for us.
Like that.
Like that. Exactly. So,
it's so much fun. And I'm so excited about doing all of this. It's just amazing.
It is. Bette runs summits herself, so she understands what it's like to do these things. We broke the site. We're also excited we broke the site. I don't know if we broke the site or we broke the site. Unfortunately for Tracy, I was at the doctor's office, so Tracy had to put an email out quickly and do that. But all good. So, Bette, we start this really casual conversation of where you live, what you do, and how you got into paper crafting.
Wow. It's as we sort of what we call retire from a regular day job, which was for me, my last job was a university professor. So it was just retiring from that scenario and getting back to what you really love to do. And for me, I like to make stuff like decorate the home. Oh, I can make that. Or why pay $12 for that when I can make it for $92? No, there's a little bit of humor in there, but that's the truth of it all. And looking at the cards going, oh my gosh, the cards are getting up to $12, $13, $14 to buy a really decent looking card. Why can't I design them? Well, I have a tech background, so I started learning Illustrator about 5-6 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. So I've been able to design stuff and work on stuff. So we do scrapbooking, we do cards. I don't tend to do anything with vinyl, although I have a stack of it. I just love working with the paper crafts. I mean, I've got things sitting around. Yesterday I was making a card that pulls out into 3-4 different layers. I mean, just having fun. And I think that's the whole goal behind it. I've been having so much fun. And of course, my eldest daughter is part and parcel of what I do. And she's the artist. I'm the designer. So there is a difference. I can make things, design and work. I can't necessarily make it beautiful, but she makes it beautiful. And between the two of us, we were able to move forward. And of course, we put on lots of summits as well, and workshops and different things. So this is great because I love participating in them. Usually I'm behind the scenes and I get to do the panicking, but this time I get to do the design and a little bit of panic because for some reason we put last year's links onto our page. So if you go to the page for doing the puzzle piece, it has been replaced. Heather and I worked together to get that fixed. And it says, click here. I put the step-by-step in there as well. So you can click and get that and get the template from there. So once you get to that page, those links have been corrected. And I gave Tracy the links as well. So have you covered? I do apologize for having that happen.
It happens. Poor Alicia, I'm going to reach out afterwards, who was our speaker on the first day. Beautiful, shaggy, chic stuff is not technical at all. Her and her 11-year-old son put her Optin together, and it's not working. And we've had thousands of messages about it. And it's like, okay, after the summit, I'm going to set it up so it works for her the next summit she does, so she doesn't have to go through this.
That's right. And we think we test everything ahead of time, and there's always something that's going to fall through the cracks. So we do apologize for it, but we do have it fixed. So
yes. And she's the example of she is the artist. Her stuff is beautiful, but she is not the techie at all. So yeah, it's all good. Where are you in this world? I know where you are, but let them know where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you?
So, from doing the paper crafting. We've, moved into creating our business, Bette's Makes, and we've not looked back since. And this is just something both of us love to do. It also connects me better to my family as well, because they know things come from the heart rather than something I just went to the store and purchased. And that's a big difference when you're into crafting.
It is awesome. Where are you in the world?
I am in Vancouver, British Columbia, 1.5 blocks from Stanley Park in the West End at English Bay. And I could walk a block down to the beach, one direction, a block into the park, and the other direction to the tennis courts and the golf course and the lawn bowling and Lost Lagoon and all those beautiful parks. If I walk the other way 6 blocks, I'm actually in downtown Vancouver. So it's really gorgeous here.
It is a beautiful place to be. Yes, I have friends who live kind of in that area, so that's a beautiful place to be. Excellent. So can you share a little bit about the project you did, which I'm a puzzler. I might not be a crafter all the time, but I do puzzles, so I liked your picture.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the puzzle piece came up, about a year or so ago. I decided I wanted to make a puzzle of the faces of my grandkids. And so I searched around and I found templates, but nothing really worked. So I took that and then created the best way to cut it with the Cricut. And it worked extremely well. So I fine-tuned it for this particular project because of that. There must be more than me that want to have a little puzzle piece. So now you can put your little puzzle piece in the bag on your scrapbooking page, and then you can print out an example of it and then fit all the pieces on. It just becomes a more interactive page rather than just, I put this together and pasted some things on. And that was kind of my goal. I wanted something that was more interactive. So that's sort of the basics, how I came up behind that. Now, I don't have my page with me here.
I can bring up a picture.
And one of my children took it home because they wanted to play with it. So I know it's pretty popular. It was a lot of fun doing it. Cricut Crafters, but I've been connecting with your offerings for several years now. Ooh, Helen, yes, I recognize the name. And Ruth Nagus, I know her too.
So we can do this. I will.
Now, Ruth's from overseas, so she's burning the midnight oil.
In our VIP crop last night, who was in Germany, who was really burning the. So there is the puzzle piece.
There's the project. So you put the puzzle pieces in one of the envelopes, and in the other envelope, you put the example of what goes into that square in the middle. Now that square is raised so the puzzle pieces won't fall out as you put them in, because, quite often if you're doing a puzzle, somebody walks by, it moves. So that is a frame that it fits in, and it's got a little depth to it, so it's not going to move. So I had a lot of fun putting this together. Now, I didn't get my daughter to do the artwork, so I hand wrote all of the little pieces that are on the outside. So I figured the artist here can add, you could make a second puzzle and take the little pieces and put them around the outside edge, just to give people a hint of what's inside. So there's a number of options that you can do with it.
So as a puzzle person, I have a question for you on this one, because I think that's really cool, because you could take a picture of Tracy for me and make a puzzle of it, and then I could put Tracy's face together.
Yes.
Could you print, because I don't know your machines that well, could you double side this and have one image on one side and then another image on the other side?
You could print, well, what we would have to do is print something that's going to go in the exact position, one back to back, print it, and then cut it out on the machine, and it'll cut it once, and you'll have it back to back. And that is a great idea.
Well, I have some puzzles people have given me, that are double-sided. And so they do exactly that. They print it and then they cut it. On the ones that are professionally made by puzzle companies, there's a different texture on one side. So you can kind of figure out, but it's really the other one that I have for complicated puzzles, they print a grid on the back.
You could do that too, easily.
But it would be cool to do it too. See, I like doing puzzles, you can tell. It would be cool to do like a double-sided puzzle. That would be a cool gift.
I'm writing that idea down, Heather.
You can borrow my idea because I borrowed it, but it would be a good one to do, because it would be that mystery of them not knowing what's on either side of the puzzle, and it would make it just that much harder.
I have this book full of ideas, and yours is going in my book here.
So Helen said, I'm thinking of using that idea with
Yep.
double-sided paper. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, exactly, because you could, when you have some beautiful pattern papers, quite often they're blank on the back side, so you could actually print for the Cricut on the back side and have the pattern on the other side. Now, you could pick some of these pattern papers. It doesn't have to be like a seamless pattern. It could be, some of them have like floral scenes in behind. So you can make sure that that is in behind when you print over top and cut, because that would work as well.
That's a great idea too, because then you don't have the blank on one side and you have, and some of that pattern paper actually, oh, we're going off topic here, but it's kind of cool. Some of that pattern paper, you can make quite a complex puzzle.
Yes.
Right? Because if it's very small details, then the puzzle pieces would be more complex to put together.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to use an image. You can use some beautiful pattern papers that have the scenes on it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many different options. I just like the idea of making it personal with people.
Does pattern paper ever come where it's blank on one side and pattern on the other side? Because that would make a really good one, because then you could print the image on one side and have the pattern on the back side.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. There you go. We've created a new project for Bette to show us one day when she does it.
I'll just do it as a separate workshop. So we'll make that offer for everybody, right?
We're going to have a whole puzzle summit, puzzle scrapbooking summit there going on, right?
Making puzzles. Yeah. And of course, with this one, you're using the larger pieces, but I gave you the smaller pieces. You can make them really tiny, because I made it really tiny. It was really hard to put together, but you can make so you've got dozens of pieces rather than just maybe 20 or so. So you can have like 40 or 60 pieces. And then if you get really complicated, I didn't make the two so you could even make it smaller, but we've got the two options, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun as well.
So Suzette signed up for your kit.
Why not? I'm learning to use my Cricut Joy, so this might help. Oh yeah, we put together. This is really fun. We do digital kits every month, but we charge an annual fee of $19 to get all 12 kits. So every month you get one. So that was a fun thing to do as well. And of course, we make all of our pattern paper. So we make all of the patterns, all of the paper. We do about 14 of those, and those work well on things like this as well. So you could do your own pattern paper that we provide, and then do your puzzle piece on the back and just flip it. So now the interesting about paper that you use, you don't have to buy the big pads of paper and lots of paper. If you have someone that you can work with that does create patterns and pattern paper, if you just go to betsmakes.com/shop, I have a bunch of digital papers in there, 12 at a time. You just print that on one side, and then of course print whatever else you want on the other side. And we use that a lot for filling in letters and cutting them and doing things that would work perfectly on this puzzle piece. So instead of those little puzzle pieces having handwritten words, you can actually put them in there.
Yeah. I have some whole pages of seen scrapbooking cards. Would be great to use that as the back piece of the frame, so there isn't a picture where there's a puzzle in it. So instead of having the blue, you could have a picture there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what you could do for little kids? You could actually have the picture there, so they're just putting the puzzle pieces on top of the picture. There you go.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's a great learning tool as well. Yeah. Puzzles are fun because they're not only, when you create them yourselves, you've got your own memories, not somebody else's memories. You've got your own memories. You've got things that you can work with your family with, and all kinds of things like that.
Well, I was given a card for Christmas this year that was a puzzle.
Yeah.
So it was exactly like this. It was a puzzle on paper. It was bought as opposed to made. But what they did is that, it was a puzzle with like 20 pieces in it. It was probably this big. It wasn't big, but it was fun to put it together and put the puzzle together. So so it'd be a great card and Christmas one. So, question: do you put your puzzle scrapbooker pages in page protectors?
I find when I do the puzzle, once I've got it in there, if I decide it's going to be permanent, I just Mod Podge over top and just keep it in there permanently. I don't bother with the other part. It just gives that protective piece of it. Now, another little trick you can do with the puzzle pieces, and this is a temporary fix, you can actually use something like, I've got it here, and you put this at the bottom. It's probably backwards for you, but it's called Tack It Over and Over. It's an Aleene's glue. So what you do is you just paint it on the bottom, or paint it on the bottom and let it dry tacky. And then when you put your puzzle pieces in, it stays there until you pull them off.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's a temporary fix. Now there's a number of them that are around. They also have that one was about $8 at Michael's Canadian. I'm talking Canadian dollars now. And then they have this is another one, Pixie aerosol. Probably seen this. This one's way more expensive. It was $18 versus $8. So, whatever. I play around and test them both. So
that's
that works well. And then I have a third solution, which is a bit unusual.
We like unusual.
This is a sticky mat adhesive.
Okay.
So what I do when my mats get old and the stick goes away, I coat it with this, let it dry for about 20 minutes, and then I've got a perfectly sticky mat. Now you can use this as well underneath the puzzle piece on there. It gives it a sticky surface, and then when you put your puzzle pieces down, it will stick until you pull them off. This one's a little stickier, if you know what I mean. It's going to really adhere it. You have to be careful with some papers because it'll pull it apart. So
that's a good idea though, because when I got this paper card puzzle, it's hard to keep. Paper doesn't stay as well as like a real puzzle piece. So having something that's a little tacky for people to put it on would be great.
Yeah, and exactly. And then you can pull it all apart at any time. It's not permanent. So that's an important part. I find I use it when I'm doing test cuts and trying out a lot of these projects for making cards and scrapbook pages, that I'll use the tacky stuff, because then I can move it around if it doesn't seem to work that well.
I have done, not on the Cricut once again, but I've done a puzzle. Like I've cut my picture out as a puzzle because it was people doing puzzles, obviously. And then, you're putting it on the layout kind of thing. And what I did is, just to make it look like fun, some of the pieces I would pop up and not put straight on, as if I was trying to get it, to put it in the puzzle piece, and that's where it landed. Just to, I don't know, just add a little flair to that puzzle. I don't know, just to make it look a little puzzled.
I'm covering your face, and I don't mean to, Tracy, but that's how the system works.
Okay.
I think this is a great. Tracy will love this suggestion. Could this be done in chipboard so the puzzle pieces are more sturdy?
Of course.
Of course, it takes a long time. If you're using a Cricut, it'll do like 30 or 40 passes to cut through, but it does work.
Tracy loves chipboard. That's why I said Tracy would love this one.
It's just a matter of making sure that on that chipboard you are able to adhere your image that you're trying to make the puzzle piece out of. And that's the big key to that part of it, is making sure that that is in place. Now, here's the little trick. If you're using a Cricut, of course, you're printing out the image on your printer. It puts those square lines around top and bottom so it can find it. Then what you want to do is don't cut it out, but take that whole piece of paper, put it on your chipboard, and then when you put the chipboard on the mat, it still has the registration mark so it knows where to cut.
Okay. Can you print on chipboard, or you have to print on the...
It depends on your printer.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because mine, I have, believe it or not, 3 printers. I got the great big 12 that does 12 wide because of doing scrapbooking and stuff. So I wanted a 12 wide. And that's my Epson, I think it's a 15,000, and it does 12 by 12. It's just fabulous. And then I have a smaller one that I use for sublimation ink, which is an Epson 2800. It's an Echo Tank thing. And so I sometimes print with that. And then, of course, I have a black and white laser, which has other uses, because black and white you can use. And you'll find out I think there is somebody presenting on how to foil using heat. So when you print with the laser, it's heat transferred printer. Now you can take and put your foil over top of that and then put it through your laminator. And the laminator picks up on heat ink versus the other types of ink. So you'll see behind me right there, that's done with the laser printer on black and through the laminator. So there's all kinds of little things that you can do.
That's very cool. Someone here said that I die cutted a puzzle that I made on mount board. That worked well too. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, there's all of these thicknesses of materials that you can use for it, and generally a puzzle. They're pretty thick. It's like it reminds me of cereal now. Cereal box to me would work extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know cereal boxes have printing on one side and the other, so what you can do is, once you have things all put together, you can actually make sure that you've got a different pattern piece on the back of your cereal box. Or I found Kleenex boxes, at least the larger ones, you get this pattern paper. Mm-hmm. And so you can print on one side of it, and then you've got the pattern paper on the back. So recycle, reuse gives us a lot of things that we can do as well.
And I would tell you, as somebody who makes their own, who loves puzzling, there are high quality puzzles, but there's also, I'm going to be very Canadian in this, people, giant tiger puzzles, which are not high quality. So the thickness of cardboard in certain puzzles that varies a lot by manufacturer, even in the made puzzle world. So
yeah, there's a lot of ways you can do it. And I came across a company at one of the women's and craft shows here in Vancouver, and they took photographs. They bought amazing photographs from people and then had them professionally turned into puzzles. Mm-hmm. So if you don't want to make them yourself, you can actually find a way to do it. But I found the price was a little excessive, where I can take a picture, print it, put it on those puzzle pieces, and it'll cost me under $2. So I'm happier with that than a few $100s to do my own thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Cereal boxes to
add strength to cake toppers. And
yes.
No one knows.
Yeah, exactly. And and another cool thing you can do with this as well, and this is the framing of your puzzle piece on that scrapbook. I went to a frame shop, and you know how the inner frame part where I forget what you call this. The mat. They gave me all their scrap mat stuff. Mm-hmm. So they got big pieces, little pieces, and so you can then just add those pieces around the outside edge, trim them up and decorate them, and then put your puzzle piece in the middle with the mat. But you don't have to pay for it. They're more than happy to get rid of their scraps.
Yes, they are. I don't want to put them in the garbage.
Yeah.
Same with, if you want cardboard, another place to get cardboard, not always, is like liquor stores, because they get a ton of high quality boxes because the bottles are heavy. Grocery stores, they get all these boxes they want to give. Now, some of the bigger ones will actually sell their cardboard. Yeah. It's quite profitable to sell cardboard in the world if you have volumes, but liquor store boxes, things like that, they can depend. They have multiple thicknesses, so you have options there if you're looking for cardboard. So I agree with you, recycle, reuse. But surprisingly, cardboard's actually large companies sell their cardboard back to get recycled and repurposed.
Yep. Well, that's interesting. In Costco, of all places, they have this pancake mix called Kodiak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't get it here anymore.
That is a beautiful cardboard. I have one under my desk here, all ready to be cut. So that's the reason I brought it up. And I thought, oh, this is beautiful, thick. It's not flimsy and thin.
So I'm jealous if you can still get Kodiak pancake mix at Costco, because we can't. They took it out here, but that's available in the States all over the place. But
yeah, well, it is in Vancouver. I guess it's popular enough.
There's an Ontario brand that they're putting in the stores here instead, and it's not in a box. It's in one of those bags things, resealable bags. So they're trying to promote the Canadian brand, which is great. Thank you, Costco. But I really like the Kodiak one, but you can get that in the States. Alicia was using pieces of cards. So she was using pieces of, she uses shoe boxes. Alicia was using shoe boxes.
Ooh.
She likes.
I'll have to go out and buy more shoes.
She says,
I told her.
She says one shoe box lasts her a long time because you're just like little pieces. But She likes the quality of shoe boxes. She's in Australia, so maybe their shoe boxes are slightly different than ours. I'm not sure. Can't remember.
I would imagine shoe stores that want to get rid of a bit of their cardboard, that would be easy enough to go grab those as well. I am all for doing different things. Now, I have a little trick for you. You know how we clip things together. If you give me 1 second here, my whole craft room is within reaching distance of me here.
You have a very clean craft room, so we are in
It's only clean because I'm talking to you, right? Do you see these little clips?
Mm-hmm.
Any Starbucks that sells reserve coffee gets lots of these clips, and they quite often just toss them out. So you can get.
Really?
I grab these are really strong, and they're
I love those.
Coffee. Yeah. So Starbucks reserve coffee. Find a place that sells it and ask them if they have any of the extra clips. You're teaching a class on something or other with crafting and would love to have them. And they will put it aside for you.
Okay, Tracy, you're going to have to make a relationship with the Starbucks by buying me a coffee. Tracy doesn't drink
I'm
coffee.
writing it down.
Buying me a coffee. You can buy me a coffee.
Yeah.
And then you can get theirs.
Yeah. So these are great. And I found other ones like this that they're okay. You can just buy those at the dollar store. They're okay, but they're not wide like the Starbucks ones.
That's a great thing because Starbucks, I mean, they don't want to throw out. They've got, so there's lots of Starbucks around. So there you go.
The only reason I found out about it was I was in a Starbucks and I was working with the West End Seniors Network and picking up the extra food at the end. And he had all these clips sitting there. Where did those come from? He says, oh, they come off the reserve coffee, but we just, toss them up. Oh, no, save them all for me. So now I've got more than I could ever use in my whole lifetime.
Wow.
Just say, Tracy, you can get them. You can give them out at your crop and say that you got these special.
I'm going to find out. This better not only be in BC. Okay.
No.
The ones that have the reserve coffee.
It's everywhere. And wherever there's a Starbucks, if they sell reserve coffee, you can get those clips.
Yeah.
There you go. You can start using Tracy hosts at least several crops a year, so she can have them and give them out as special bonuses. Yeah. Nobody has to know that you got them for free at Starbucks.
No, exactly. Don't worry. I can figure out layouts where you can put them on or whatever. Just, yeah,
they come in a little pack, and I think there's 10 in a little thing that are clicked on, so they'll give them to you.
There you go.
I will go ask. I'm going to go now, and I'll be back, okay?
My problem is when you talk to me, I've got so many different ideas and things I like to do, and testing stuff and creating stuff. I mean, the puzzle piece is just, something that comes out of your head. So my whole thing is imagine what you want to make, then design it so it kind of works, and then, of course, then make it. So imagine, design, create, and that's the whole premise behind it, because most people want the template. They're just going to use the template and on they go. But take the template and think, gee, I want to make some changes to this so it works a little better for me, and just play with things. To me, that's the fun part. I have to show you. I just have to.
Am I getting my pen ready?
Yeah.
Am I writing something down?
So my daughter gave me this card. I hope it doesn't sing. I've got it upside down here, I think. No, but it comes out like this.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I thought, all right, I want to make one of those. So yesterday, I created a template for it.
Very
and
neat.
it was really easy. I had to reverse engineer a lot of stuff, but now I can put my own pictures across here all the way across. And that was just taking something I thought was really cool and trying to figure it out for myself and make it. So I'm going to have that project out soon. But
it's funny, when I see that, I would love to get that not colored in, so I could color it in myself.
Yeah. Well, I show you how to make it, and then you put your own design on it. I don't give you the design. I give you.
No, but if somebody was to mail me one, I would love to have one that's not colored in, and then I could color the design in.
Oh, yeah.
That was when you saw it, because you hadn't got any colors on it yet. I'm like, oh, that would be kind of cool to give someone who.
Yeah, so you could paint in that part.
Yeah, you could paint in the design. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, a coloring card. There we go. See, we got more ideas. Now I'm making my dad's messy.
All these ideas. I have to borrow somebody's Cricut machine and start playing.
When we do our workshop at the I think it's the third week of July. This is going to be the countdown project. We always do a countdown project ahead of time. So we break it down into 4 pieces to make it really simple. So you'll be able to do it there. So anybody that's here, just, you join in, get that free ticket and just join in on the countdown project just to get something to heat you up. Okay, here's a puzzle for you. How do you get all my boxes full of resources to look so much smaller? The dining room is disappearing. The resources. If you saw underneath my desk, you would just die. I've got 1, 2, 3. I get 8 boxes underneath here, just sort of beside each other. One's full of scrap paper, one's full of this, one's full of. So I end up using behind, and then of course I got these IKEA shelves behind me, and I've got 2 sets of drawers. I don't know if you can see the one set here, but I got another set over here.
Where do
and
your
I just keep
go?
filling stuff up in a big desk.
Where do your legs go?
Okay, I've got a little slot that they fit in here. You can see my knee. My knee. If I gain any more weight after being on this medication, I won't fit in there.
So countdown projects are such a great idea. Something for us to think about. There you go. It's a good idea. Getting people engaged.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Generally you can go into Facebook group. There's lots of great engagement in this particular summit, back and forth, and people testing stuff. So I do a countdown project just to get people making stuff and trying stuff out before they hit the actual workshop. So
yeah, that's interesting. We hadn't thought about that. Now we get an idea from Bette this time.
Right.
That would be something we could do potentially.
Well, it is. It just gives you a super place. Now, Ruth, you've done some of the countdowns, didn't you? I know Ruth did, and there was a couple other people I saw here that were in on some of the stuff. We've done countdowns with, I don't know what I've got behind me here of some of the stuff that we've done. We just had a lot of fun with it. We made books. We've made all kinds of things with the countdown. I just can't remember. Yes, Ruth says yes, she has. And we just have a lot of fun with it. So, the big key here is let's come up with some great ideas. Let's start recycling materials and using those. Let's create something that comes from your heart and just really fits. Something that you can give piece of your heart to a friend or a family member. I mean, that's kind of the whole goal behind the whole thing. It's not to just, create stuff and let them pile up. Although
it's kind of like what we're doing.
Behind me, this box behind me here is full of the cards I've made. So when a birthday comes up, I can just rummage through there and grab one. So nothing goes to waste.
It's kind of similar. We're launching, or we launched in December, but people can get into our scrapbooking fun circle. And part of what we do is challenges every month. And it's basically the same idea, which is if you're part of the circle, we're going to challenge you to use what you have and create something. So this challenge is to use your stencils for this month. We've had different ones. The first one we ever had was to use your scraps. And we're varying through of trying to use what you've spent all your money on. And I think that's an important part, because otherwise you will need more boxes for your dining room. So maybe the solution to your dining room table is to don't buy anything until you use what you have. That might give you more space. I know that's hard for you guys. We asked last night, Bette, and we've had this answer before, was what's your favorite tool? What's your favorite craft booking tool? And the answer was their credit card. So there you go. We've had that too before. It's like your credit card. It was Susan who brought it because she was on our first one. But I think for some of you, that is your thing. Ruth remembers the multi-layer card where the new layer was made each day.
Yeah, that was a countdown project we did. We've done things where the card comes out and then you get multi-layers of parts of a scene that work out there. I can't remember them all because everything seems to meld in. We've done 12 events, so we've done 12 countdowns at this point. So it's just been a lot of fun doing those. And I know it's a little extra work, Tracy and Heather, but I think it's worth it. If you can always say, "Oh, I need a countdown. Maybe I'll do one for you." I'll put it together. Maybe the first one as you go through until you figure how you can get it into your routine.
Well, we will take you up on learning how to do that, because I love that. This is what I love about your community is you're generously sharing an idea and you guys can go do it, versus some communities get very proprietary about their ideas. And I appreciate that.
That is not the way. Maybe it's a Canadian thing, maybe not. But no, it's not. It's not a Canadian thing, because my friend Jennifer Maker does she shares a lot too. So it's, although we have things that we have to make a living too, we try to keep them a lower enough price. But I love sharing ideas and giving people things they can do and places they can go that are low cost, can fit within their budget, and still, you know, you're creating something that's perfect, but it's sharing. To me, the more you share, the more you care, the easier it is to work with people. And to me, that's perfect.
Well, yeah.
No,
I
we
will
appreciate
share
it. I love the
anything
idea.
with anybody. You guys know that already anyway.
Yes. Yeah. No, I appreciate that one because that's the type of thing I would like to do, like kind of step-by-step thing. It sits in my teaching head as a teacher,
Yeah,
as what I like to do.
Step by step. You just have to remember, we did it over 9 days once, so I really had to break it down to 9. So we've now decided 4 is the perfect sweet spot. So
Okay.
the final day is your assembly, and the first day is putting everything together and what you need, and then there's 2 days of instruction in between on, you know, cutting and doing 2 parts of it. It's always a little more complicated project than you normally would do because of the 4 days, but they work out extremely well. It's a teacher sharing ideas was my role before I retired. Yes, Ruth, I was a teacher from K to 12, and then, of course, a university professor, and I worked for Cisco Systems in the Bay Area in San Francisco, so for about 12 years, as well as teaching engineers, believe it or not.
I am an engineer who taught engineers, so I completely understand that one.
I'm a computing science engineer, and I was teaching engineers, so it's just sort of like I just love talking tech with Heather too, and that'll probably be everybody else's head.
Yes,
man.
Yes, it's all good. Any other questions for Bette? I love your puzzle idea. Obviously, it's been a lot of ideas because I can see so many. We've come up with some other ideas for you to create more puzzle stuff. So, me too.
You too.
Yes.
So teaching. Yeah, it's funny how you can go into teaching and instructing and teaching, which is different from training. Trust me.
Yes.
It's how you break it down and how you make it easy for people. And to me, that's the biggest key. Make it easy for everyone. You know, nurture them through each of the steps and sort of just say, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. Just, you know, pull them through. And Ruth, you know all about that as well.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Bette, for being part of the summit. It's great. Love your project. I didn't realize all of what it was until now. So there you go. Because you're just putting the videos together. We don't always get to watch the videos.
Yeah, I know. That's the hard part, isn't it?
So cycle back later and watch it. But I love your project. I can think of so many cool ideas. And even people I know who aren't puzzlers, just that mystery of like, if you sent them a page like that and they could assemble their own pages. It's fun. Sorry, I just got in the live and this project looks like so much fun. The scrapbooks I use have paper protectors. Do you tend to use these scrapbooks without page protectors?
I do both. And I just like the non-permanent tacky glues to protect them as well. So works both ways.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And thanks, Ruth, for being with us. It's great to have people here. And thank you, Bette, for joining us live. Tracy, we are back at what time?
I think only 2:30.
2:30. Okay, we get
2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific.
Yes, 2:30. And who knows what in Australia for those Australians are sleeping. So if anybody's having issues with Alicia's gift today, she's asleep. So we always have people who are like, it's not working. It's like she's asleep. It's like
yeah, that's right. And, you know, Ruth has to sleep in there somewhere.
Well, we did our live crop last night, and we had somebody from Germany on, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning when she joined. And she finally gave up about 2:30 in the morning and said, I need sleep. So there you go.
Exactly.
And it's impossible, as you know, to get every time zone awake at the same time. So
exactly. So have a lot of fun, everybody. This is just incredible. I mean, the projects, I'm looking at them all going, I'm trying to design stuff, but I want to watch, you know, a lot of them and get some more ideas as well. So enjoy yourselves. I know you're going to absolutely be blown away by all the presentations over the next few days.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much. And we will look forward to seeing the stuff that you're bringing out with your next. When is your next summit, by the way?
We have a summit in the fall in October. We have our stack, which is we're doing that June 16th to the 21st. A stack is a whole stack of training courses all put together. So that comes out then. Tracy will probably send you out a link to get into that. And then we have a workshop. I believe it's July 23rd, and it's our summer workshop. And we've got lots of projects all created for what we're going to do inside, like making little umbrellas and putting them on a card and stuff like that. A lot of 3D stuff. I love 3D paper. It's so easy to do.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. We will be back in a bit, in an hour and a half-ish, or 2 hours and a half. I don't know. We'll be back. We'll be back sometime today. My brain is, I'm usually really good at time zone changes, but not today. So thanks so much, Bette, for joining us and for being part of all of our summits. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Again.